Hey, it's Danny here, and in today's video, we're going to answer the question of how to upgrade your admin or leadership team meetings. I hope you enjoy it. Well, hey there, everybody. This is Danny Sunshine Bauer from Better Leaders. I'm joined with my great friend, Jethro Jones from the Transformative Principle. Jethro, how are you today?
Man, I'm doing so good. Life is great.
So good. We were talking about my mom. hiring her to send out books for our masterminds, and that got to be pretty funny. So, but we're not going to share that. That's if you want to know the story, you have to join my mastermind or Jethro's mastermind, and then you will get the Danny Bauer mom story that comes with the membership. So it's pretty cool. There's so much value.
That's a perk.
Yeah,
that's an extra bonus.
That's the cherry on top, man. Forget the incredible network you plug into. Forget solving your number one challenge that you're facing as a school leader. But it's for the Danny Bauer mother stories. Like, those ones are absolutely priceless. And you get that same story if you join Jethro's mastermind too. So he knows the story. He can tell it. He's an authorized storyteller.
Yep. I've gone through the training, gotten the credentials. I'm ready to go.
That's right. So if you want to get certified in Danny Bauer mother stories, go to .com. No. All right, cool. Well, we're gonna get into some questions. Right before we do that, though, I know you mentioned that Jeff Becker visited, I think, your school district and gave some inspirational talk or something. But can you share that with our viewers, and then we'll hop into our question.
Yeah, so I was really excited to see him. He's been on my podcast. I think he's going to be on your podcast soon. He was part of the Transformative Leadership Summit. Jeff Becker at candou.us. That's can do U like university, big U. And so you should definitely check out what he's doing. He came and spoke to these students, and it was super inspirational. And here's the best part. So you got a good speaker when you got these freshman kids they're sitting like right behind me, and they're being punks like all throughout his talk, right?
Yeah.
As ninth graders are wont to do, right? And so they're like, I'm too cool for this. This doesn't apply to me. I'm not going to listen to this. Everything he's saying, they're like leaving commentary like a Mystery Science Theater 3000.
It's my favorite.
Only at a ninth grade level.
Not my favorite.
So, and so they're saying all this stuff, but as they're talking and John back and forth, over time it starts decreasing until he gets to an important point in the talk, and then they're silent, just like the whole rest of the auditorium is silent. So rather than turn around and saying, you guys are being really disrespectful, you need to stop this because I'm a principal, I let him work his magic, and he worked it, and those boys eventually stopped. And I even saw out of the corner of my eye, one kid try to show another kid something on his phone, and the guy was like, no, I'm listening. And it was amazing. So to get some ninth grade kids to go from being punks to caring about what he was talking about was just awesome. And so then I took him out to dinner. Well, he took me out to dinner because he's that kind of guy. I tried to take him out to dinner, but he wouldn't let me.
Didn't work.
And we went out to dinner and talked and spent some time together, went and saw the sights around Fairbanks. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
Just a super generous, awesome guy, and just loved it and did a really good job of working the crowd and inspiring those kids. And then the cool thing is he's going to continue to do videos over the course of the year, and then do at the end of the year another training with the student leaders at the school. So there's a lot of cool stuff that's happening, and I was really impressed with what he did. And I've seen a lot of motivational speakers come to schools, and he's trying to really embed himself within the school and build a relationship with the kids, which is pretty neat.
That's incredible. Yeah. Give his website one more time, and we'll link that up into the notes for the video too.
Yep. That's candou, candou.us. Go check it out. It's awesome.
All right. Like I said, we'll have that linked up.
Perfect. Right here.
Right there. Somewhere around there.
All right here.
All right here. You never know. Okay. Let's get into today's question. We're just doing one question today. I took this question from the Principles Facebook group, which is a fantastic, very active group. And somebody mentioned, good morning, I've been thinking about my admin team meetings. I've held them every Monday for no more than an hour to refresh and discuss the week's priorities. Admin in my K-5 elementary school include principal, AP, and counselor. Does anyone have suggestions on how to keep this a short but powerful meeting? I've tried. I assign topics of conversation, bring your own topics of conversation, talk about our matrix, but I want them to be more instructional than to do. Any suggestions are appreciated.
That's a heavy question.
Ooh, big question. It's heavy, hard to lift.
It is. I'm like, come on. So the thing is with that is that anything that's going on in a meeting is all because of you, the leader of that meeting.
Ouch.
So if you don't like how it's going, that's your fault. If you love what's happening, that's your fault. And so nobody's going to come to your meeting and say, this is what it needs to look like. It's just not going to happen. So you've got to set the tone. You've got to set the agenda, the priorities, what you're going to talk about. If you want it to be about instruction, it's got to be about instruction. And that comes straight from you as the leader of that meeting. And that's the long and short of it. You got to do that. So I think the next question is, how do we do that? But I'll let you talk before I give my opinion on that.
Yeah, I think we both took that Seth Godin course, and that quote stuck with both of us, that you get the culture you deserve. And so that's the same thing that you're talking about there. So, however the meetings are running, that's totally on you. I couldn't agree more. And so you got to think about, what are the creative processes that you want to put in place to make sure that it works all right. You mentioned, how do we actually do that? So at this point, I just want to share 5 strategies to really awesome meetings. And I was reading a book called Double Double by Cameron Herold. And so that's where I learned these strategies. Some of them I was already doing, and some of them were new to me. So number 1, prepare an agenda. And Cameron says, no agenda, no attenda. So that means if you're not putting in the work, right, to be prepared for this meeting, whatever it looks like, then people don't have to come. That's actually a cultural norm within his business. State the purpose of the meeting in 1 sentence and include it on the agenda. I've never done that. If I'm in a formal organization, again, I will start doing that. And with the podcast company that I do, with the masterminds, I don't. We have agendas, but they don't need to know like the purpose, because it's the same every single week, solving their number 1 problem. So it's something I want to do. And then he also mentioned limiting the outcomes to a maximum of 3. So that makes sense. I'm not sure what you're reading recently in the mastermind, Jethro, but we're about to start a book called Great at Work, 7 practices to make you a highly effective and productive person. And practice number 1 is do less than obsess. So the same type of deal. If you have too many outcomes that you're chasing in a meeting, people are just going to feel deflated. They're going to, feel unfocused. It's just going to be hard to figure out like where they can actually plug in and help. You might even overwhelm them. They'll shut down. Number 2, determine the style. So, and I think this is getting at the person's question that we took from the Facebook group, but is this an info share, creative discussion, or a consensus and then some type of decision? Number 3, start and end on time. So this seems like a no-brainer and something that everybody should do, but so many people don't, right? Starting on time, not so hard for me. Ending on time is, and like the mastermind runs a little bit long every time. The podcast meetings I'm running, those are dialed in. We do it 15 minutes or less, and sometimes we get them between 5 and 10. So it just depends for me. But here's something that for the listeners, I bet none of you are thinking about. It has to do with Parkinson's law, which is that the task expands to the time allotted. And so Cameron says, compress the time. Estimate, okay, this meeting, and like this person said for the question, it takes an hour. Well, schedule only 30 minutes. And if you schedule for 50% less of the time you think it'll take, Parkinson's law is in place. And it's just amazing how you get so much more done in a confined amount of time. We learned that in our videos too. Discuss, one question, let's say, hey, let's just try to record in 10 minutes or less. And I think people that have been watching us have seen the quality of the video increase. We're being a little more goofy, having a little more fun, but it's also tighter content, and they get what they need in a quicker time frame. Number 4, foster useful communication. So draw in your quieter colleagues. I learned this, forget the author's name, but she writes about introverts. And so just give them a minute to write down their ideas and that kind of thing before asking everybody their opinion. And that's one way to draw on your introverts. Shoot, you could even have people leave the meeting for 5-10 minutes and come back if they want to go collect their thoughts in a different environment. And then Cameron shared something called GE's workout process. Check this out, Jethro. It's awesome. Give out stickies, and everyone writes down 5 to 10 ideas on a note. So 1 idea per note. And what Cameron did, he did this with a client who wanted to increase revenue. So this is a business context. But even as school leaders, let's say we're trying to figure out a better way to release our kids at the end of the day. Everybody write down 5 to 10 ideas. And so Cameron did this with a business client, wanted to increase revenue, gathered 40 employees, and in 5 minutes, they had 150 ideas on how to increase revenue, right? So boom, just like that. And it took 5 minutes, and people commented it was the best meeting of the year. And then something that I think we talked about, you said it would be publicly shaming, so you weren't about it. But remember I mentioned that if he anticipates that you're on your computer but not taking notes, you're on Facebook, what he does within his culture, so it's if you're comfortable with it or not, hey, you on Facebook? And if the person is caught, then they add $20 to the social fund. But if I incorrectly say, Jethro, you're on Facebook, and you're not, you're taking notes, I owe $20 to the social fund. So either way, that's how they deal with tech distractions. And the last but not least, number 5, to make your meetings great, know your role. So the chair that facilitates, the timekeeper, participants, the closer who is doing what by when, and then the senior leader deciding if you need another meeting, when that will happen, and who will participate. That's what I got for you in terms of 5 strategies to make better meetings.
That is awesome. I'm going to share a book that we are reading here, that I personally read, and that I'm going to share with my mastermind in the next couple weeks or so. This is called NoFail Meetings by Michael Hyatt.
Yeah,
I'm a big Michael Hyatt fan, and this one is a good one. So he talks about a lot of the same things that Cameron Herold, is that who your author was?
Yep.
Cameron Herold. Look at this, man. I'm so impressed by what you brought. I took notes on a green sticky. All right. I'm gonna have to take a picture. That's hilarious. Okay. So I even took notes.
That's awesome.
And I'll take a picture and send it to you. Boom.
So in NoFail Meetings, what were some of your big takeaways there?
So same thing. And here's a strategy that I actually used this last week. Somebody sent me a meeting request without an agenda. And one of the things he suggested was push back and say, I'd like to be prepared for this meeting. So can I have an agenda? And so that's exactly what I did. Someone sent a meeting request, and I said, I'd love to be prepared. Can you send me an agenda? They gave me an agenda, which was not like, bullet list and everything out. It was just, here's what we want to talk about. And I said, that's great. And I was able to create a document for my own purposes to help me prepare so that I had talking points ready to go. And, when you push back and get an agenda, then it really, really helps. And so he also talked about starting and ending on time, having norms for who's going to do what. So a lot of the same things that you talked about. And, it's a simple thing to prepare an agenda and to be prepared and those kinds of things and to start and end on time. And yet nobody does it. And that's the thing that just boggles my mind. Like, we have these things in place, and we as educators are notorious for trying to cram in way more than we possibly can. And what he
You mean state standards into 1 year's worth of curriculum?
Yes. And so we do that in our faculty meetings. Yeah. So we're like, okay, we need to get through these 17 items in our 1 hour meeting. And it's like, we're never going to get through that. Mm-hmm. I did a faculty meeting just last week, and it was work focused. Everybody was doing something meaningful, creating something, learning. And And at the end, we still didn't have enough time to get to what I thought was something we could definitely get to in 45 minutes. So you just got to be aware of that and be prepared and not try to cram in too much. And yeah, and shortening the time, so valuable. I think that's great.
Awesome. And just two more real quick nuggets that I learned from Pat Lencioni and The Advantage. Use a lightning round, guys. So the lightning round's neat. Now, you already have your agenda. You have it built out, but build some space and add some time. So everybody gets, let's say, 2 minutes to think time. Round the table, leadership team, what's your biggest goal for the week or challenge, right? Just one goal, one challenge. And then everybody literally only gets 10 seconds to read that off, lightning round. And that also adds to your agenda and builds some priorities. So you as a leader are able to quickly see what's the pulse of my leadership team and where are the challenges, where's the development needed, where's the coaching needed, et cetera. A lot of times the stuff you're going to want to talk about anyways administratively is going to be embedded in that lightning round. But maybe some things that you were blind to will pop up as well. So just leave some space and time for that. And then the other one is called cascading communication. So not only who is doing what by when, but getting crystal clear on the message. So maybe you're making a big shift from traditional grading to standards-based grading. How are we talking about this with our departments, right? So the department heads, I would literally role play and script out and practice how we're going to talk about this with our people, just to help them be a little more successful before sending them out. And as a leader, to control and massage a bit the message, making sure it's in alignment with what we want to say to our staff.
Yeah, I like that idea. That's great, because so many times what we think is what's going to get communicated isn't actually what's getting communicated. And we're like dying because we just talked about this and then it doesn't happen. So role playing, that is powerful. Very good. So here are my notes.
Yay.
All right, there we go.
Well done. Well done. You get an A+ today, Jethro.
Yes. Boom. Not for good penmanship, however.
It looks fine, man. You're crushing it. So, hey, let's end on this. For our viewers, they know that we both run leadership communities, and Jethro and I both help school administrators fight isolation and frustration through our masterminds to help you gain clarity and find solutions to your greatest challenges. Jethro, where can people get more information if they want to get connected and go deeper? So the Principle is Principle. Facebook group's awesome. People asking questions, giving answers all the time.
Yeah.
Voxer's good for that. Twitter's great with Twitter chats too. But if you're looking for a place to consistently, right, have it on your calendar. I'm meeting at this time for an hour with other peers that really care deeply about education and leadership. Nothing's going to be as authentic, as deep, and as vulnerable as joining a mastermind. So where can they go to sign up, and where are your openings? What day?
Yep. transformativeprinciple.org/mastermind. And I've got just a couple spots left on Thursday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. And then my one that's a little more open is the Tuesday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern. And so either one of those, still looking for great people to join. And in fact, I just got to share a brief story. Had a new person join last week.
Congrats.
And it was super exciting. And she just got in there and it was amazing. She was so ready to be vulnerable and have accountability. She just it was amazing. She came ready to learn and hungry for information on how to be better, was totally vulnerable. And that woman is going to go so far because of her willingness. Where can people get more information about yours, Danny?
Yeah, betterleadersbetterschools.com/MM for mastermind. And if Wednesdays work for you in the afternoon and evening, that's where I have openings. So you can learn about both our masterminds by visiting those pages. They'll be linked up in the notes for this video. And I just want to end with this. Listen, Michael Jordan, you've heard of him, had a performance coach, Tim Grover. wrote a book that I believe is called Relentless. And I'm evaluating, it's on my list, and I want to see if we should read in the mastermind. But long story short, if Jordan, the best, arguably the best, basketball player in the world forever, had a performance coach, why don't we as school leaders? So it's something to consider. We would love to work with you, lift you up, encourage you, and support you on your journey of leadership and success. And thanks so much for watching today's video.